If you're a travel influencer looking to get into the travel influencing industry, you want to make sure that you're working with travel and hospitality marketing to make sure that you are the perfect fit for the companies that you want to work with. Today, we're talking to Sahara Rose. She breaks down everything we need to know about what we need to be researching in the hospitality market and learning how we can best work within the context of what the companies are already doing and what they're looking to do in the future. Let's jump in.
Hi, I'm Sahara Rose, Vore, a wellness travel coach and consultant and founder of the Travel Coach Network, a global community of travel coaches providing transformative and meaningful experiences.
And today we're going to be talking with you because you are an expert on tourism and hospitality marketing. And we as influencers want to learn how to work within the realm of how tourism and hospitality locations are marketing their businesses so we can market on their behalf. So, what's the first thing we need to be aware of when it comes to tourism and hospitality marketing?
It's all about understanding the traveler. So if you are looking to work with a brand, whether it's a hotel, a cruise line, a destination, a tourism board, whatever it might be, the travel and hospitality brand, they all have different ideal clients, ideal audiences. Just like any business, you cannot group every traveler into the idea that they're an ideal client for that brand. So the main point is you have to understand who their ideal client is on a human level, and deeper than their preferences on, when it comes to travel, we often think about, let's take an example of a travel experience. um, we think about, well, people like this type of cuisine. What's their favorite chain of hotels? What kind of loyalty points do they use? Do they like nightlife or sitting at the beach? Those are very shallow descriptions of a traveler. Travel, as we know, and if you're an influencer who is in the travel space, you also have this understanding too, is that travel has a lot more meaning to it. There's a lot more value that travel has on our life in every way, shape, or form. So when it comes to understanding your ideal brand, ideal client, understanding their pain points. So what are they looking for on a human level? Are they looking for the sense of freedom, sense of fulfillment, relaxation, disconnect from their busy work life? Because maybe they're targeting busy moms. Maybe it's executive women who don't take vacations. Maybe it's employees in the workplace that don't take vacations. Maybe it's digital nomads who, are looking for community. So you have to really, and social connection and human connection, you have to really understand those touch points.
So, as these locations are doing their research to find their ideal audience, what do we need to be aware of that they are specifically looking for? Because then in turn, we're going to need to make sure that we have the right audience that is the right fit for those venues and locations.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that companies need to do already, before they can relay that information to an influencer. Um, if if the company themselves don't identify on a human level the pain points of their ideal clients, it's going to be hard for the influencer to do that. So as an influencer, I would really recommend suggesting to the company, or asking the right questions so that you can target their ideal client. And because when we think about it, consumerism, whether it's traveling, whether it's buying something at the store, if it's something we see online, so it shows on social media and we buy it, it's because it touches us in an emotional way. And travel does exactly that. When we think about why we travel, it's because it isn't just to get away. It's not just to go on a vacation and sip pina coladas on the beach, even though that's what many people do. There's an underlying reason. And that's really what you have to ask your ideal brand is, what are the underlying motivating factors for why your ideal client wants to travel. As a wellness travel coach and consultant myself, I work with many hotels. And what I see in the wellness space, because it was built on the spa industry, is that they offer the very bare minimum. Things like a 24-hour gym, a Peloton in the room or in the workout area, yoga sessions, meditation sessions, comfy mattresses, healthy food on the buffet or breakfast. But it's like, okay, that's great. A spa, they revamped their spa. Their spa and wellness center is a big one. But it's like, well, when it comes to travel, we know there are a lot more healing benefits to traveling. So things like human connection, spending time outdoors, bodies of water, connecting with the locals, hearing stories that really transform you in some way. There's a lot of depth to it. The emotional, the mental, the physical, the spiritual, the intellectual, and professional wellness benefits of travel is really coming to the forefront of the traveler's behavior on where they choose to go, what they choose to do, and more. And that's really up to you as the influencer to understand your brand, that brand you're working with, ideal clients.
So, a good choice would be for influencers to do their research before they're reaching out to a venue to collaborate. We want to make sure they're on the social media platforms and we're looking through their advertising to see what emotions and underlying motives they're really catering to with the current branding that they are using, and then use that to then craft a pitch to go to those venues and see if it's going to be a good fit.
Right.
So, what are some of those key things we should be looking for in terms of their current marketing that might clue us in to what underlying emotions and motives they are working with?
Many companies are working on that now. And so just taking a simple look at their website and the content that they put out there, you can pluck out some of those keywords. Companies want to hear you use their language back to them. It's speaking their language. So if you do your research and take time, if they talk about wellness is very broad, and the terms and the phrases used within these different brands and companies are very broad. But take a look at what they talk about on their websites. Take a look at their descriptions and do a little bit of deep dive into there. Maybe they have a blog that you can check out, because that whole industry, every hospitality and tourism brand is trying to aim towards wellness, transformative experiences, meaningful experiences, sustainability, giving back to the community, making an impact. So these are some key topics to think about, because those all touch on the human aspect, the emotional, the spiritual transformation, the mental well-being that people are looking for, that the consumers are looking for.
So, making sure that you are in alignment with a company's strategic moves inside of their branding is really important for making those connections and for having those conversations. Let's say an influencer is looking at a particular venue or a particular company and they would love to work with them, but they're not getting as much from their branding to be able to clue them in on what we're going to do. Do you have advice on how to craft a pitch that is going to connect with them on some level in terms of suggesting specific underlying pain points that we can be touching on and motives that we can be using inside of our pitch to make that collaboration more effective?
Yeah, I think as an influencer, it's up to you to also do your due diligence and to understand the industry and the changes in travelers' behavior as well. And you can bring that information and that insight into your pitch. Companies are, I say companies, but travel hospitality brands are looking to stand out even more as we move forward out of this pandemic, as more people are traveling and competition is roaring for them. So they also want, there's a way for you to make an impact and make a good impression by saying that I understand, taking a look at their mission and their values and their vision. Every company is going to have it on their website or somewhere in their content. So understanding that and saying, here's some suggestions, and this is what I understand as someone who's so passionate about the travel industry, and bring that into your pitch as well.
As somebody who has been in this industry for a very long time, what are some of the things that you're seeing right now that these different brands and companies are lacking in when it comes to identifying their ideal customer that perhaps influencers could use inside of their pitch to step in and make some suggestions that could benefit both parties?
Yeah, there's a lot that they're lacking. The travel industry, hospitality industry for so long has been actually pretty lazy in their marketing. And that's where it goes back to what I was saying of that very surface level. Because when we think about it, people don't actually aren't companies are not selling experiences, but that's what they have been selling. They're selling their beach, they're selling their four walls of their building, the size of their suite, how comfy the mattresses are, the choices of sustainable shampoo products that they use in the shower. But the thing is, everyone is doing that. When everyone is doing something, you're no longer unique. So what they're waking up to now is understanding that travelers are making a lot more mindful and meaningful choices on where they go, who they buy from, where they stay, what they do, and more. So there's a lot more of that human aspect. People are looking to feel something different. They are looking to connect with other humans. They're looking to learn something new, to have off the beaten paths, to have something that wakes them up inside, that makes them feel alive, that makes them feel free, that makes them feel fulfilled. And that's why we're also seeing things like the Great Resignation happening, where people are not going back to the workplace, because that all ties down into this sense of freedom and flexibility. And travel is a big key component in that. So companies are starting to wake up to this. And when it comes to their websites, you might see wellness, you might see sustainability, you might see a lot of these keywords being used, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the action's being put behind it. But as an influencer yourself, what you can do is get this broad understanding of the brand and what their mission and their vision for their business is, and give them that little nudge as with the information that the insight, this research you've done on who their ideal clients are and what they might be looking for, and adding that human approach to it.
So making sure that we are reiterating the points from their mission and what they're using inside of their branding, and then combining that with what we know and showing that we've done some research on them, it's really going to be a good and relevant way to reach out to these companies and make sure we're forming the proper connections. Do you have any final thoughts on how we can be actively using a company's marketing and branding to then allow us to make those connections with them?
I would say don't be afraid to give your insights. Companies are interested, they're curious. There's no better time than now to be a part of the tourism and hospitality industries, because companies are listening. They want to stand out, they want to grow, they want to get employees back, they want to get sales, they want to get travelers back at their destinations and their rooms. So I definitely say to just think about, don't hold yourself back and put yourself out there, because that also will make you stand out among other influencers who are pitching them as well.
Oh, that is such a good point, because right now we should be taking that initiative and being someone who is going to stand out inside of this industry in terms of what we're doing and how we are creating these connections. And now is the best time for us to jump into it. Where can everybody connect with you online to learn more about what you do?
Yeah, you can find me on the travelcoachnetwork.com or the Travel Coach Network on Instagram and Facebook, or I myself on Facebook and Instagram is Sahara Rose, the Travel Coach.
If you love this episode, be sure to hit that subscribe and notification bell, because Sahara Rose is coming back for another episode all about how we can disrupt the travel industry and really get noticed as we start to reach out to these different companies to work more in tangent with them. Be sure to drop your questions down below, and we'll be getting your questions answered as quickly as possible over the next couple of days and weeks. And let us know what other topics you want to see covered here on the channel. We'll see you in the next episode as we continue to help you level up with your game on social media, growing your online business, and flourishing inside of the influencer industry.